Hello everyone, this is Perfume Coast, so welcome to my channel. Today I'm talking about white floral profile and specifically about orange blossom note. So without further ado, let's jump into the ocean of perfumes. So as far as orange blossom note is concerned, I think that it has two dimensions basically. It could be either sweet, extremely sweet, or quite soapy or clean. At least these are two dimensions that are to my nose. So the first perfume I'd like to discuss with you is called Oriana by famously known Parfums de Marly brand. So without further ado, let's get reminded of the notes here. So on the top we've got mandarin orange, bergamot and grapefruit. In the middle there's orange blossom, raspberry and black currant. And finally in the base we've got marshmallow, whipped cream, musk and ambrette. So this one was my love at first sniff. I had to have it instantly. So to me this perfume is quite linear, but I like it this way, as the composition in the opening is something I basically want to have till the end of the day. So what is it, this scent? It's your bright and fresh orange blossom wrapped up in a gourmand blanket. And this blanket is sweet, creamy and full of marshmallow dimension. But at the same time, it's powdery that gives off this impression of gourmandy fluffiness, maybe the likes of sugar powder. So the unmistaken imagery that comes to mind is the sweet and creamy orange blossomy marshmallow coated in sugar powder. It's again very famous fragrance, and in my view it leans very feminine, but it's always subjective, of course. Next up, we've got another famous release, this time by the British brand Ormonde Jayne, and it's called Levant. So very quickly again, let's have a look at the notes that Fragrantica is listing for us. So on the top there's mandarin orange, tangelo, bergamot and rose. In the middle there's orange blossom, peony, jasmine and lily of the valley. And finally in the base there's musk, cedar and amber. So this is, again, quite a beautiful scent. It's along the same crystal-like additions as Valaya from Parfums de Marly, or, for example, Neroli Amaro from Van Cleef Arpels. So it's clean, orange blossom forward, non-indolic, slightly sweet, and with a bit of solar warmth. This perfume is powerful and strong, but at the same time, the blend has this softness to it. And to me it reminds of how a lobby of 5+ London hotel would smell like, perhaps. You know, this mixture of room perfume, chic carpet shampoos, crispy starchy shirts worn by hotel personnel in combination with fragrances that guests are wearing. It also has some tea-like quality, where this tea is sweetened and, transparent, with addition of citrus and a bit of honey, perhaps. I do not necessarily smell honey as such, but rather it's a tea and honey combination vibe. There's also some touch bitter undertone that makes this beautiful release even more classy. So these have been orange blossom releases that are on the sweeter side. So now I'll talk a bit more about, another dimension, which is clean, shampoo-y releases. So, and therefore next one is the release of French house called L'Artisan Parfumeur, and the fragrance itself is called Historie d'Oranges, which is apparently translated as a history of oranges. So yet again, let's have a quick look at the notes that Fragrantica is listing. So on the top we've got neroli and white tea, in the middle there's orange blossom and musk, and finally in the base there's ambroxan and tonka. So this one opens up very clean, orange blossomy, citrusy and extremely clean. To me it can easily be this chic, gentle orange blossom citrus fabric softener. This perfume is also slightly sweet and creamy, but then again it's your clean t-shirt and jeans fragrance that at the same time is also very expensive and classy, if that makes sense. So this one is on a colder side and can perfectly be used as a more elevated freshie. It also has orange blossom that's very natural. It really is something you'd smell in the Mediterranean summer when you're passing by orange trees, except for there's also this laundresque character So alongside your orange blossom trees, there are freshly laundered sheets drying out in the sun. So next up is another release, which is called A Coeur Perdu, and the brand is yet again, I think it's a French brand, d'Orsay. So yet again, let's have a look at what Fragrantica is giving us here in terms of the notes. So on the top we've got iris, aldehydes, bergamot and lemon. In the middle there's orange blossom and neroli, and finally in the base there's cashmeran, ambroxan and moss. So all three fragrances I've talked so far are more or less feminine leaning in my view. But this one is straight unisex, if not leaning slightly masculine. This one is for those men who may feel a bit apprehensive towards white florals in wearing these, as for some unknown reason to me, white florals and orange blossom specifically are sometimes considered as feminine bad. So this one, even for most conservative tastes, again, is very unisex. So this fragrance is yet again citrusy, clean, and even more on a colder side, but here there's almost this fougere-like character, maybe landed by moss. So it's this quality that adds up to a universality of the scent. It's also very soft and slightly powdery. Alongside with previously reviewed release, it's this classic orange blossom release that on the one hand is not something we've never smelled before, but on the other delivering something on its own quite special. And this time around, it's this amplified aldehydic coldness and amplified laundry clean effect, I think. So now we're moving forward with cleanliness amplification, and next release would be Gentlewoman by the brand Juliette Has A Gun. So this would be the bottle. And as always, and yet again, let's have a quick look at the notes that Fragrantica is giving us. So what we've got here on the top is neroli, bergamot, bitter orange blossom. In the middle there's lavender, orange blossom, almond and coumarin. And finally in the base there's musk, ambroxan and woody notes. If previous releases come across as soft, mind you, not necessarily weak, this one is extremely zingy, bright and invigorating right from the opening. It has the same quality as Neroli Portofino and 4711. In other words, this orange blossom is laundresque, loud and has again a bit of fougere vibe. This time delivered by lavender, I think, for which reason this fougere is orange blossom that's citrusy, laundry clean and lavender herby, the likes you'd come across in your spa maybe. For which reason this scent can be perfectly both your pick-me-up out of the shower fragrance or white t-shirt fragrance, but also it can be, it can give off this relaxing spa-like character. And lavender, as regular as it is actually quite hard to describe. So my description would be your fragrance companion that's spicy, slightly bitter, herbal, cold, citrusy, and both invigorating and relaxing somehow. All in all, if you're looking for a perfectly unisex eau de cologne that sits on a stronger and longer side, but at the same time has this distinct 4711 DNA, try to test this one out. So next up is yet another release along the similar lines. This is a release by Prada and it's called Infusion de Fleur d'Oranger. And yet again, let's see which notes are here. So on the top we've got neroli and mandarin orange. In the middle there's orange blossom, jasmine and tuberose. And in the base we've got powdery notes and cyrinolide. So this orange blossom has strong DNA of the line it belongs to, meaning Infusion. And this line is extremely powdery and very often has this iris forward undertone. So this release is no exception here, as this orange blossom sits on a very strong powdery base. This orange blossom again is on a colder side, again quite powdery, crisp, clean and also quite natural. It almost enters this slightly indolic territory, white flowers, but then it sort of stops and never crosses that tricky boundary. And so it remains this bright, clean and slightly citrusy powdery orange blossom, which otherwise called nature is softened by this one-time attempt of becoming full-fledged carnal white floral. But this, feature never really succeeds, but instead it leaves this softer, warmer trace. So next up is yet another release very similar to the previous one. Yet again, it's called Fleur d'Oranger, and this time it's by the French house Molinard. So, and as always, let's have a quick look at the notes that Fragrantica is giving us here. So on the top, we've got bergamot, cypress, lavender and fig. In the middle, there's neroli, petitgrain, jasmine and rose. And finally, in the base, there's orange blossom and musk. So this one, in my view, is very similar to Prada's release. It opens up in the same way, being extremely bright, zesty and laundry clean. Equally, it has a good dose of herbal lavender. It reminds me slightly of most luxurious orange blossom lavender laundry detergents. And this clean undertone beautifully dominates the fragrance all along. So if Infusion de Fleur d'Oranger is this powder-like clean orange blossom, this orange blossom is major, about utter cleanliness. And then after about 10 minutes, this fragrance, similar to Prada's release, approaches this carnal territory, but different to Prada, this one really starts adopting this indolic feature. But the scent never becomes overly indolic, although all this, lavender-like clean orange blossom is there. I can clearly detect every now and then this slightly carnal aspect. So it's really an interesting concept that this fragrance has to it. Along with being lavender clean, it also has this subtle indolic quality that provides slightly vintagey vibe and a hint of naturality to this complex orange blossom fragrance. In my view, it's very underrated, as I literally have never heard anyone talking about it, which is a pity because it's really a beautiful and versatile scent. So next up is another quite interesting and nice release. It's by the brand YSL and it's called Libre de Absolu Platine, or the way we know it better, Libre Platine. So as always, let's take a quick look at the notes that Fragrantica is listing here. So on the top we've got aldehydes, bergamot and mandarin orange. In the middle there is double lavender, which is lavender and blue lavender. We also have orange blossom in the middle, and finally in the base there's vanilla and amber. So this one of the entire Libre line is by far my most favorite. In fact, until this scent came out, me being a lavender fan, had really struggled to find any strong lavender presence in any of previous releases. And that's despite the fact that Libre line is well known and hated precisely for its lavender strong DNA, allegedly. Well, not to me though, until this flanker came out anyway. So this release is the first one where I can really detect strong lavender base, and its combination of orange blossom and lavender that stand out to me quite strongly. But then you would think that this combo is of course very common, and that would be the case again to many cologne-like releases. Well, not here, not really. Here lavender and orange blossom are craftily woven sort of into this classic Libre DNA. And to me this Libre DNA, whatever the ingredients are, is this non-indolic white floral accord done in a bit plasticky way, which, however, is not being unpleasant. Another component characteristic to this, lavendery orange blossom would be strong presence of clean aldehydes that brighten up the fragrance, and in the spirit of aldehydes, traditional to them, create this sparkly feature. So to me, this orange blossom release is this beautiful and non-conventional, clean, lavendery orange blossom, still having this Libre DNA and amplified by aldehydic accord, which altogether creates this almost niche-like effect. So, and finally, the last fragrance for today's video, it's called Roberto Cavalli EDP, and quite simply, it's by Roberto Cavalli. So, and as always, let's take a look at what Fragrantica is listing here in terms of the notes. So on the top we've got pink pepper, in the middle there's African orange flower, and finally in the base there's vanille, benzoin and tonka bean. So this is also a beautiful orange blossom. This one is made in a slightly older style way, the likes I remember people wearing in 90s. Although this release came out a lot later, of course, in 2012. Nonetheless, to me, this scent is distinctly reminiscent of all the releases, as said before. So what is this scent all about? To my nose, this is your very sweet, slightly spicy orange blossom, which is supported by all usual suspects delivering sweetness, such as vanilla, tonka, benzoin. But nonetheless, being sweet orange blossom, this perfume never gets gourmandy, remaining strictly within this realm of a beautiful perfume, which to me, again, is a distinct evidence of 80s and 90s orange blossom releases. However, make no mistake, this fragrance is also very modern and up-to-date, and is certainly perfect to be worn by all ages. It's just that this perfume would be your slightly different offer compared to various dimensions of one and the same motif. So all in all, big recommendation to test out if you get a chance. But that's it, guys. This has been the last fragrance for today's video, as said before. If you found this video of any use and liked it, please give it a like. Please consider subscribing. Please share your comments. I'm really curious. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye-bye.